Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back after a very long time to the Last of Us review. But now we're at Season 2, Episode 1. I'm the little Sadie, Travis Down. I'm joined by...
I'm the Viper, Kirkland Patzer.
I'm the daddy's home, Taylor Field.
I specifically asked Taylor when we're in a business setting not to call himself daddy at all. And now here we all he's saying daddy's home. You know, I don't need... Satine can call him daddy. Madison can call him daddy. I don't need to call him
You
daddy.
didn't say in a business setting. You're like, don't call yourself daddy in these parts ever again. Like,
That's these parts. We're just business.
What Western are you from?
Again, we're not friends outside of us. All of us, we signed a 50-year contract. Big mistake there. You know, some people couldn't take the pressure. Kyle, Amber, Jessica, they all left because like fuck.
49 years they could do, but not 50.
Yeah, they're like, oh no, but here we are. It's us three. We don't know what happened. Dylan's hopefully okay. He might have told us that he's not joining for Last of Us, and we might have forgot. There's lots of things that happen, and just like that, there's lots of things happening at GeekVerse. But I'll tell you all about that after the ad break. Yeah, we got a slew of stuff happening in May. Lots of good content, lots of good episodes, fun times. So you can check those all out. But like I said, I'll talk about that after the ad break. Which if you go to Patreon, you could avoid that. But let's get into this. So, Kirkland, give like a brief synopsis in case we got some new listeners of what you thought about Season 1. I'll clarify that Kirkland and Taylor have not played the games, so we're not going to talk about any game spoilers.
I dabbled.
I've
in the
dabbled.
game.
They're too hard.
Toes.
I meant this. Sorry, I meant specifically part 2. They've not played this game, so we're in uncharted territory now. So we're not going to talk about any game spoilers until obviously they happen within the show. Same thing we do with a Discord, the same rules there. We're talking strictly the show. I'm going to dance around them because there's some stuff that's a little tough, some stuff that's not. It's kind of tricky. I'll wait till my overalls. But Kirkland, brief synopsis, elevator pitch in case people are new and don't know what you thought about Season 1. And then what are you thinking about the premiere of Season 2? We got a nice 60-minute girthy episodes. That's always nice when you pull that up. It's like, oh yeah, we're in HBO land, you know? So, and yeah, we'll be here reviewing it every week. So Kirkland, the ball's yours.
The balls are mine. Yeah, Season 1, Last of Us, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just really well crafted to that HBO standard where there's just something special about getting like Sunday evening HBO, like new show. Like it's just a nice... like it's almost like an event, like Sunday Night Football, but you know, Sunday night HBO. And I can
We've
only
only done
like
that for two shows, though, have we? I think, right? Last of
That's it.
Us and Game of Thrones. Are those the only two shows we've done? The HBO Sundays, or is there another
Like
one?
in person, you're saying?
No, I mean,
Because
in our whole
you,
time.
me, and Kyle gathered for I think the premiere of the final season of Game
No,
of Thrones.
that's not. I mean at all. That's it would still
In
count.
person.
That would still count. I
Yeah,
said
it counts.
any show other than Last of Us, Game of Thrones, because Kirkland's because we did
House of the
Peacemaker.
Dragon, that's different.
But Peacemaker's on Thursdays. They don't do that on
Dexter,
Sunday.
that new season was
HBO,
on Sundays.
HBO.
That was on HBO, wasn't it?
No.
It's on Crave, and I consider
Yeah.
it HBO.
I do
No,
too.
That's
Yeah.
not a HBO show. Continue, Kirkland.
I don't have an HBO channel. I just have Crave, and that's what I watch it on. But we digress. No, but I thought it was just really well crafted. I thought it was a really engaging story. I'd only ever played that first game about halfway, so I knew some points, but pretty much just kind of like the setup of the characters, and then from that point on, it was just what the storytellers of this show were able to give me is what I got. And big Pedro Pascal fan, so I'm always in his corner, and I thought he was just fantastic, and pretty much everything around that first season I really dug. I didn't rewatch that first season going into this, and I felt like this just kind of crept up on me. You know, we're doing a lot. We're doing Daredevil right now. We're doing a bunch of other things, and I just feel like this slipped through the cracks. I was a little bit surprised. You told me last night that that it was coming out today, and I'm like, oh right, yeah, that's right. But no,
I watched Season 1.
I'm really excited to just keep watching these every Sunday from here on out going forward. And I had a really good time jumping into here. I think it was a little bit of like I don't want to say like a slow build up, because it's like, well, it felt like an episode 1 of like a new season. Like I felt like the pacing kind of, it was on par with what I maybe would have expected, at least for the Last of Us show. Like it has its high intensity moments, but for the most part, it's I don't know. Maybe I want to say some things, but maybe I'll say them for when you get.
I think it's a slow burn at times. They definitely take their time. The game's like that too. The game's paced in a way where you're supposed to really feel what's going on. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, I think this is really good. I definitely have many questions because because I didn't rewatch that first season, I can't remember what like was revealed and what wasn't, because there is a lot of new faces to me at least, and maybe I just am misremembering and I just don't remember seeing certain characters. But for me, it felt like we got introduced to a lot of new faces and just dynamics between our characters that we already know of. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to just seeing how that builds going forward. I'm expecting like a very heavy season of emotion-wise. I think the first season delivered on that, and I can only imagine this season going to be just double downing on that, on the emotions. But no, I thought it looked really good, and yeah, but I felt like the runtime. It felt like it went pretty quick for the amount of minutes that were
Yeah.
actually on the episode. Maybe that is partly because I just wanted a little bit more, but. Yeah, I think I could have taken a 2-episoder on this first week. I've been getting that in the last couple shows I've been watching, and maybe I'm a glutton now.
HBO don't do that, you know. They want to make you
Yeah.
feel it. They want to make you. They want that subscription, the numbers, you know. So,
Fair enough.
Mr. Field.
Yeah. Oh boy, that first season. Thank God for doing the rehash at the start. I really appreciate it when shows do that. Just gives me a little bit of a recap, because a lot of stuff I don't remember. I remember the sinkhole, and the zombie clickers. Come on, what do you call them in
clickers.
this? They're called clickers. Okay,
Clickers,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, everyone's got
Zombies.
their own name. Zombies, the walkers, clickers. Yeah. Anyways, that season was great, and from what I had known from the first game, it was really cool to get these spot-on identical scenes in the show compared to the game. Really enjoyed it. That aside, when the show went further than what I was aware of in the game's storyline, I just really enjoyed it. It's just really, really good writing and good development of these characters, and it has a lot of emotion and tension, and it just feels hopeless. At the same time, like there's a beacon of hope in here with one like trajectory of this character, but again, everything else just feels hopeless and terrifying. And when we get into this, yes, it's a continuation of the previous season, but heck, I would never suggest this. I'd say go watch the first season, because the first season is great. But the way that just starts off, I feel like you don't even have to watch that first season, because it's just you're just here, and it's just like diving in with these characters. Like, hey, this is. I feel
Could
like
you
this
say
is,
that though? If you, let's say they couldn't watch the recap though.
I think you could, because this is not spoiling it, but they immediately just shed light on a few things where I feel like, again, if you missed that first season, it's like, okay, well, this with this character explains this. Oh, this with this, that explains that. And they tackle a few things, and not in a way that it backtracks and backpedals where they're redoing things over again. And it's like, oh, like, what is an equivalent of that? With Captain America, Brave New World, where you have Buck, or you have Sam Wilson going through things in that movie, and it's okay. This is an apparent relapse of what he's already conquered in the show. That sucks. But in here, you have them not rehashing it and reconquering these issues. It's okay. These issues are still present, and they're going through these things still, but they've explained it in a way that, hey, this is it, and I like it. It's building off of the recap, but it's independent in its own way, if that makes sense. I'm probably getting a bit confusing with it. I just really like how they kicked this off. I think it was really well done, and I think how we get to the end of this episode too, it was an absolute banger. It definitely does feel a little bit of a slow burn getting to where we're at, but I've only been aware of some things with the game. I remember when the second game came out, and I remember seeing lots of streamers and lots of people putting up the cutscenes and whatnot. So there's only a few things that I could recognize. A lot of scenes in this I recognize, but there was a few other things that really freaked me out. Moments too where you're just like using your peripheral vision. It just like those things are great. Really appreciate those, and it just does a great job at being comedic and dramatic and horrific at the same time, with that horror element always looming in the background. So I'm excited to break it down and get into the spoilers aspect, because there's definitely some questions I have too. But the way this episode ended was just banger. Holy shit. I'm so stoked to see what happens next.
Banger, he says. Yeah. One, I hate that you brought up Brave New World, because I just rethought of Bruce Banner's ex-girlfriend highlight. So that was something going on there. But, check out our Captain America Brave New World review. But, yeah, this is a very interesting and tough review for me to do in a non-spoiler sense. I'm gonna do my best because I'm a professional, been doing this for 10 years. But there you go, Superbad Mike, fantastic. Penguin was a Sunday HBO show. There
Thank
you go.
you. There
10
you go.
stars for Superbad Mike right there. So you'll be happy to know, Mike, my kids were listening to Wicked today while brushing their teeth, so shout out to you.
Good shout out. It's a good shout
It
out.
is a good shout. Yeah, it's tough because all I'll say about the second game, not specific spoilers, not even broad strokes, just like the way the game is paced is it's not told in a like a point A to point B. It's not chronological. So that's the difficult thing for me where and it's multiple, two games spans multiple years. You guys already saw when they did the 5 years later, right? They've done that right away. And that's where it's tough for me because there's going to be certain things that happen at the beginning of this game, the middle, the end that are all jumbled around. So that's tough for me as far as not only to talk about like certain choices and why they're doing them this way, just in the sense of already some of the things I feel they're doing now, I think are better in the game. And you can go check out, not to pimp myself, but top 10 episode of all time, Last of Us 2, solo review. This guy, it was a great episode. I think I talked like 2 hours about that game because it is a very controversial game. They do lots of choices, lots of new characters that make a lot of choices. Like they take some swings, and I think they're going to do that. There's just certain things, that's just talking about Mike and other people probably in the Discord when we get there, that I'm just worried that they're doing because they might have been like, in the game people didn't like that, so let's not do this anymore. Let's change it up. And I hope they go full Monty, and I'm not. I already think there's certain things. I think there's certain things with the Abby character that I'm like, I feel like they've reeled this back. There's certain things that I don't want to say that I think they've reeled back. So I'm just a little worried. It's kind of like if it's not broken, don't fix it. And there's many people like, at least Kirkland and Taylor in the bubble, there's many people that have no sense of what happens in the game, don't know. It's the same way as like a book, right? You're adapting something no one's ever seen before. And I guess they might go, oh, well, some people didn't like those choices. The problem with a lot of those people that didn't like those choices were a bunch of the like red eye thumbnail people. That's the thing where it's like, oh, strong female characters, this and that. It's like I'm really worried. They're like, yeah, you know what? They didn't like that when we did that in the game. So let's not do that here. So for me, oh man, they got him.
Kirkland's checking out. He's like, yeah, this is bullshit.
Yeah, but so for me, it's very tough to not so much with season one because season one they changed some stuff and added some stuff, but that felt there was a clear path. That's a point A to point B story. Game two is covering so much space; it's very tough. And for me, even the first scene, like, okay, why is this here? So, I'm gonna try my best to not kind of bring. I will bring that in later on because there's certain things I can't even talk about example because I know we have listeners too that haven't played the game. So to talk about where it is, I think everything's so great. The show looks great. Acting's fantastic. They're carrying stuff over from the game that I still really enjoy, down to like the little bit of like when Ellie and Dina dance. They play Little Sadie. That's a song I had never heard until I got to Last of Us. That's like one of my favorite songs this past decade. I love that song so much. So there's stuff where it's like, okay, Fields here. They're definitely adding some stuff, and that's what's interesting too. I feel like there's like about two things that they're adding that weren't in that second game, or they're very minor and they're going to expand upon them. And I just wonder because there's certain areas we go to if they're kind of like because they've already said, this is not a spoiler, they said, hey, we've taken the second game and it's going to be at least 2 seasons, maybe 3. So again, that's why it's like it's not a spoiler when I say that the second game spans a lot of time. It's just the thing of like, do they not? Is there certain things they go, we want to save for season 2, so we're gonna pad this, we're gonna pad that. I'll give examples when we get there that don't spoil anything of that to me is completely new, or that's an add-on that's gonna give us some more time and everything. So overall, really liked it. For me, it's like a wait and see for some of the changes, but there's one change in particular that I can't talk about till maybe the end of the season that I go, I don't know if I like what we're doing here, but everyone's great. The score is great. But again, it's like, it's just like taking the video game, like the scores pretty much what the video game is, right? They, for a one-to-one adaptation for what it looks like and sounds like, that's still top notch. All the actors are still great. Like everyone still feels the person that plays, God, I can't remember her name. It's Isabel.
Dina?
Yeah, what's her name?
Dina's
Isabel.
Fantastic. Isabella Merced or something like that. I don't know how to say
Merced
the
or
last name.
Mercedes?
It's not spelled how I would say Mercedes.
So Isabel, I
probably.
can't remember where else I saw her. I know she was Alien Romulus. She was the pregnant one. She was fantastic in that movie. She's going to be Hawkgirl in Superman, so I hope she's great in that. And there's something else. And yeah, she's somebody that's
Dora.
like, What?
She was live action Dora.
Not that one.
Did you
There's
ever
something
watch
else.
that
Nope, didn't watch
Oh,
that
yeah, I
one.
watched
I'm not gonna watch
Transformers,
it.
she was in
yeah.
there.
Didn't you do a review for that, Taylor?
There is a review for it.
There you go. Check that out. But she's definitely somebody like watch. Like, luckily, she's already been cast as Hawkgirl, so I don't really got to worry about like the superhero job. I just feel like the next few years, just like watch her. I think she's gonna really blow up, and she's just very effortless. And I really like the Dina character in the game too. So and that the chemistry, my last non-spoiler, with her and Ellie is something you have to nail, and I think they're already nailing that. So yeah, no, I think it's I have some questions, and I'm excited to hear your guys' questions, but there's lots of things that it is like a wait and see, and it's interesting because we all knew they were going to do something different because you couldn't tell the way the game works. I don't think you could do that in a TV show. I don't think the audience is made for that, and I even think there's some things you can go back to my review. So many people had issues of, oh my god, Ellie's gay, when it's like the whole first game, like there's fucking all these things. Oh my god, there's a strong female character has muscles. It's like, I don't know, dude, like go to the gym. Like all my issues, just to clarify, if anyone's listening in the room and I said issues with Last of Us 2, it's none of that. It's like pacing stuff, and there's even some stuff in the second game where I go, like, I don't know if I like X, Y, and Z, that direction we went as far as like this scene there and this scene there. It kind of messes up with the pace, but then there's certain things that it does do. It's kind of like Pulp Fiction, or we watched it this year, right, for Strange Darling, that it's out of order, but the way it's told, you go, oh, I see why they tell it this way. That's really clever. Where there's some things, it almost feels like they're kind of like, oh, it's like a magician showing you a trick and then right away being like, well, here's how I did it. So for me, there's things that I think are going to have less impact, multiple things that they introduced that in the game did it in a different way. So we'll get there when we get there. Fuck, we might not even get there till like another 4 years if it's some stuff in season 3, and if they split into 3 seasons, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be fucking like Snape, like attracted to Harry Potter's mom, just hold my tongue for years and always, but that's what we're going to be doing right now. So we're going to take our first ad break and then we'll be right back. And we're back, so we're talking full spoilers for episode 1. The show, as I said, check out everything you need to know is down below. The links for the video, the audio, lots of big stuff this week. Me and the Gimmick Boys, we got 3 episodes this week. It's WrestleMania week, so we did our predictions. We did a draft. We got WrestleMania reviews for night 1 and night 2 happening. We got the Daredevil finale. Me and Kirkland are going to be tackling Sinners. There's a weekly geek. There you guys got side quests. And then on the Patreon right now, just last week, we released Oh God, I think it's Superman 3 and 4, and then Mission Impossible 2. I think there's like 4 retros up there. Can't remember what they are. That's what's happening. There's so many retros up there. I'm forgetting them. So go there on multiple tiers, get them nice early. And those retros, the Mission Impossible, the Superman, and Fantastic Four, where we reviewed those entire series, those are exclusive to Patreon. So a big shout out to our Patreon producers: Aaron Brain, April Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam, Superman Mike, God Loves Me 69, Jeremy Renner, and Charlie Randell. Because, yeah, you guys get those exclusive retros early. So, yeah, lots of good stuff up there, and we're not stopping. 2 weeks from now, in April 26th, 12 p.m. PST, we're watching Top Secret for our After 9 movie day in honor of Val Kilmer. That's going to be a good time. And, yeah, subscribe to the feeds. Andor starts in a couple weeks. We got Thunderbolts coming up. We got tons of stuff happening, so we appreciate the support. And if you don't want ads on this or any other episode, you want to call in whatever benefit you want. If you really want to support us, we would very much head over to Patreon, because that's how we can do this amount of shows with your support there. So I'm going to throw to Kirkland. Kirkland, you said you not some negatives, but you had some questions or some things you wanted to bring up. So maybe let's start there and open this can.
Before I get there, I'll say Isabella Merced. That's how you say
Isabella
her name.
Merced, yeah.
Yeah.
I foresee her in the mini Golden Geek categories in the future,
Yeah, she's fantastic.
I think we gave her one this year, I think, right? For the pregnancy scene? Yeah, we did.
I don't think I voted for that.
No,
I think she was
mean,
nominated.
no, that's
but
what I mean. She got a
yeah.
nomination. She's on the board, That's a start,
Yeah,
Building
not,
the career.
not the pregnant cousin with the incest baby, but
No.
no, I like maybe some of my hesitations I have on just like seeing so many new like pieces on the board and just like trying to figure out where they fit together and just things like that, because like right at the start we get introduced to this Abby character. That's her name, right?
Yeah, Abby, yeah.
Caitlin Denver.
Caitlin Deaver, or is it Denver or Deaver? Now I'm fucking.
I think I'm thinking
usually
of
great on the
Phoebe
name.
Denver.
I think you are, and she's.
I got 2 names in my
she's
head.
Caitlin Deaver, right? I think.
Yeah,
You
okay,
pull it up.
that sounds right.
Is
Anyways,
it right though?
It sounds right. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep talking
I'll
until
go
somebody
get it.
corrects.
Okay,
me.
Kirkland's. Taylor's gonna get it. Yeah.
So yeah, we get
It is
Deaver.
Deaver. There
you
we
go.
go.
Thank you, Taylor.
Nice
We get
try.
introduced to this character, and I've heard about her reputation just because it was a very talked about character around the time when Last of Us Part 2 came out. And I was just very confused because well, you'll have to fill me in here. Was anything like shown about this character in the previous season, or like her?
Nope, she's completely a season
Okay.
2 character.
So her just vendetta against Joel. That's something that's just going to be revealed this season. Like nothing that I would have caught in the previous season.
No. So like it's not a spoiler, right? But like, no, I'll say no.
He's wronged her in some way, shape, or form to the point that she wants to kill him slowly and violently.
Yeah.
I didn't love the way that this started. I have like no attachment or like biases with the character whatsoever, but it just felt me like kind of confused. And it's like, okay, this is just going to be this impending doom that is eventually going to catch up to Joel, or like this is gonna happen at some point. I would imagine they're gonna interface, and I can't imagine it's gonna go too nicely with just how furious she's seeming in this quick scene. We don't really detail too much of what happened, other than I don't know, maybe Joel killed someone that was close to her, because they're starting it at some sort of. It was like a Firefly like funeral, right? Like, is that what those pendants
Yeah, it was.
were?
Yeah. And stat cast there, forgot. Like that was New Falcon there, right? Danny Ramirez. I'm pretty sure he was with the squad there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Now
that
you
was him,
mentioned-
right?
yeah, Little
Like,
Falcon.
I think he was not in like Falcon shape because he didn't look as jacked. But there's that, and then there was that girl. I think her name is Tati Gabrielle from You. So it's like that's
Yeah.
a stacked little Firefly cast right there. So when I saw, I'm sure they were announced and we maybe talked or heard about that. But I was like, oh, I forgot. So I was like, instantly, I was like, okay, I like 3 out of these 5 actors, so I'm excited to see more of them. So.
Yeah, and like going into this season, I knew that this character was going to be in here. I knew about the casting, obviously, but I was just curious how they were going to handle it, and just the way that it started. I don't think I'm necessarily the biggest fan of it, but like I can't even judge it because there's nothing really like beyond that was shown other than the moment right at the end of the episode when it seems like they're getting pretty close. But yeah, I don't know. I was pretty confused because this was a moment where I'm like, should I be remembering something? And like it happened a few times throughout this episode. Like just Ellie's pure just furiosity towards like Joel. Like is that something I'm missing, or is she just a moody teen? Like that's
No,
just
well,
okay.
no.
Okay. So
Yeah,
like maybe I wouldn't
yeah.
be feeling this way if I actually just watched the first season and then everything's like fresh in my mind. It's like, okay, this is just something that's that they're starting, especially doing like a 5-year jump. Like clearly maybe they've just been slowly pulling apart, but I don't know. It seems like Joel's he's trying to better himself. He's going to therapy. He's got a lot of weight of the whole township on his shoulders. But I think just the way that we picked up the pieces from last season, it just didn't seem like it was the cleanest transition over. But again, I haven't seen that season since it was on air, so
Yeah.
maybe that's my own disservice.
Well, and there's even stuff like the therapist when she mentions Eugene. I was like, it's a minor
Yeah,
character.
I was really confused about that.
Yes, it's because I was talking about that as Chris, and it's like it's a minor character in Last of Us 2 that you do like plays a role in at some point. It's kind of like the Bob character. Remember from last year where it was the couple? That's what they're doing with that character. Where in the second game, it's a very minor character. In this, they're going to expand it and do like an episode of that, which makes sense. You got Catherine O'Hara, who's like a bigger actress, right? But when they said Eugene, I was like, oh, you killed my husband. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I've played the game, I've watched the show, but I'm like, who the fuck? Like, what am I missing? This whole big subplot like from last year. I'm like, oh, I guess it's something we're going to dive into now. So, and I will say, like, I think the stuff you brought up is nothing that you should have known from last season. It's stuff that happens kind of all over and whatnot. And I will say, like, who knows? Like, I just talk about my bubble, but Chris and Joe, who's played the game, and Mike, who's played the game, we're all on iffy on the start of the show because there's certain things that are out of her that were like, I don't know if this really works being here. It's like, because there's certain aspects with the Abby character of things where it's like, oh, this works really well here. Some people have some issues with her. I never did. It's like, I'm kind of bummed that they didn't go and get like a very big lady. I think they just thought that, oh, well, people memed us to death for this very muscular girl, but it's like, there's millions of body lifters and this and that in the world, like, and it makes sense in a post-apocalyptic world that somebody would be like a little more juiced up and on, whatever. Especially when they did like the 5 years later jump, it's like she didn't look any different. Like she, like it was her at the funeral in the episode. It's like, It just looks like it's this. You may as well say 5 weeks later. At least with Bella Ramsey, they like they they don't. That's the unfortunate thing with a TV show. Pedro, I think they've definitely put some old age makeup on him because in real life he does not look this old and this kind of crusty.
This is our Mr. Fantastic. He's aged.
Yeah, it's like, man, dude's gonna kill him off like in movie 1. But like the thing is with her or with them, sorry, Bella, like they don't look that much old. But the thing is, at least they show that same scene to start the season, right? Of the first one where it's like, hey, tell me, did you do anything back there? You tell them the truth. They're like, no, of course. Like I told you everything, and then you go away, and then you get the 5 year later jump. At least Bella looks somewhat aged. Like it does look like, okay, it hasn't just been a week for Ellie. She looks like she has, grown somewhat. Where Abby just looks the exact same in 5 years. So that to me was a little disappointing. Like I almost thought they should have got like a different actress maybe for that 5 years, but it's tough. I know they're setting up side characters and whatnot and everything. So yeah, it's interesting it's a weird thing where Bella's grown, Pedro has makeup, and Deaver doesn't look any different at all. So it's just it's like a weird like time travel situation right now with the ages, but I digress. So
Am I go? I go?
Yeah, you go.
Okay, I go. Yeah, the whole idea just with people being pissed off and whatnot with these, like, I guess to each his own. I don't have that strong connection, but I can understand people being upset when things are not represented properly in a game adaptation, i.e. Halo seasons 1 and 2 specifically on Showtime. But
I'm gonna say I don't think at least it's that level. I've not talked to anybody that's like. I think we're all just like, oh, that's an odd choice. It might not work. I don't think anyone's talked. We don't got a Master Cheeks thing going on.
That's all that comes to mind is fucking Master Cheeks. But yeah, I think so far with the time jump, I was not expecting that. And from what I know about this game and what I thought, for some reason, I had thought, okay, Ellie and Abby were going to become a couple. I knew that Ellie has a someone of interest in here, but I did not know it was Dina, right?
Yeah, Dina.
Yeah, I did not know it was Dina. I was just waiting the whole time. Okay, so Abby's pissed at Joel, but Abby's gonna somehow get here, and like 5 years later, they're gonna become a couple. But no, I'm assuming that's definitely not the case now because she's just out for fucking blood.
Well,
So
you never
we'll see
know.
how that
Enemies
goes.
become lovers all the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, I so far like I like the dynamic, and I think that there's it's just it's intense. And so what I'm trying to pick up on was, okay, so we haven't had a real discussion between Ellie and Joel since the hospital. So it's been 5 years since that had happened, right? They just haven't talked it out, and she's pissed at him for saving her. Is that what I'm supposed to believe?
Yeah, maybe.
Because I just don't fully understand why she's mad at him. And we get that session with Gale, and he's like, oh, I saved her, and he's crying, and then he leaves. And I thought, well, I find this is, I'm not sure. This is confusing.
I think you're right to be confused. I think you're correct in your confusion.
Travis
What's
knows
confusion?
things. He's not
Yeah,
going
What's-
to reveal to us.
what's
What's the
Taylor.
confusion? I'll say the way you're feeling though is certain ways. I think that you did feel in the video game, as far as you weren't. They did drop you in a place where you're like, okay, we're kind of, and there was a time jump, like I said, it spanned many years, but you're kind of like, okay, what's exactly happening here? Even the community, like they got a good community going on for the most part. Like considering where we were, the first.
Nope, they got to build faster. That's,
Right, the die on it. But I mean, like considering where they were last and like place to place, even where Joel was with the I can't remember the lady, his love interest that they lost, but like they're in a community, but it just felt more dangerous and stuff. So they got that going on now and everything. So
Can you imagine you're in therapy, you're supposed to be just like opening it up, you're so vulnerable, and then your therapist is just like just hammered. She's just been like drinking hard liquor. She's like, yeah, I don't feel sorry for
killing
you.
her husband.
I fucking hate you. You shot my husband. Like it was just such a crazy turn.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, Pedro, get the fuck out of there. Like she's not gonna help you.
I was gonna say also the guy that like there's not another therapist around. Like I think she shouldn't be the one to be helping this guy. I think there's a conflict of interest there.
wants
interest
payment
there.
of marijuana too.
Well,
Just
that's what I was gonna say. Is she not accepting his help and then he's paying her? Because that's what I was gonna say. In that community, I would assume, like in real world, money would not be a thing anymore, right?
no, God,
yeah.
no.
So the way that they trade for services, but I would have thought that okay, if someone's a therapist, it wouldn't be like, well, you're gonna have to give her something for her to help you. I would think like, no, if someone needs your help, you're gonna have to help them. So I was wondering if the weed was just like a tip or whatnot, but I was like, no, like it makes sense where Ellie's like, hey, I trade my boots for a holster. I'm like, okay, I can see that, but I don't think like Catherine O'Hara is getting paid. It's just like, hey, you do therapy and we'll make sure there's food on your table, stuff like that. Like, I don't know. So when he gave her the weed, I was a little surprised, but maybe it is just kind of like to mull over the, oh, sorry, I killed your husband there, you know? So
Definitely currency for sure.
thank you, Mike. I don't envy you tiptoeing through spoilers. And that's what sucks is because if they did the game route of how the game starts, I don't think I would have to, because they're messing with timeline stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to just walk on this glass here like Ellie was in this episode. But you know, it's all good.
Can you take me back to who the Eugene character was and what context they got killed by Pedro in the first season? Because did you already cover it?
Yeah, I covered it by saying, "Oh, that didn't happen in season 1, and we'll get there
okay.
at some point." I had a whole we had a whole conversation, me and Kirkland. I thought you were a part of it, but I guess not. How that character
Eugene.
is a minor character in the game of 2, but they're expanding the role, so we'll learn about it. The same way.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Abby when you said that. Oh,
No, Abby's like a main. She's like the third main character, because it's funny. The first thing they showed of Last of Us season or Last of 2 the game was just Ellie and Joel playing guitar to announce it was coming, and then the next scene was like an action scene with Abby. For the longest time, the theory people thought that Abby was Ellie's mom. And the thing was, because obviously not now, because you guys know, oh, she's after Joel. But with the game where it was like not in chronological order, you could think that for a while. You would think, oh man, this Abby character could be her mom. Like I said, this show completely like, no, same world, same timeline, 5 years later and everything. But yeah, for a while people thought she was Abby's mom, and that was like a working theory, but not happening. So at least I don't
you
think
know
so.
that there's an image of the Eugene character in this season. He appears later on.
Yeah, he becomes the clicker. Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, just to update
I fucking
people.
knew it.
Weekly pizza bet we were watching. Can you bring that image up again there, Kirkland?
Yes, I'm looking out for this scene.
There's a pizza bet that Kirkland says this scene's going to happen in the show. It's a clicker standing over Ellie in a very provocative way. And Ellie looks like she's a bunch of makeup on because of AI CGI. So if that image appears,
She'll be getting some makeup at some point, I'm sure.
Kirkland will get a pizza. And if not, which is not going to happen, Taylor will be getting a pizza at
It
some
could
point.
happen. We'll see.
It could. Maybe it does. Even
Only one
tonight.
episode in.
Even tonight, Ellie was walking around in that like grocery market or whatnot. I thought, oh, maybe that could happen. So they introduced. I'll throw you this, guys. They introduced the. They haven't named them yet. I'm not sure if they will. In the games, they call them stalkers. They're smart clickers, which I was like, I even talked to Chris, I'm like, smart clickers. They changed them like a little bit. They made them sound like a bit more human, but they are supposed to be like faster and high. What do you guys think about the concept of we're getting a new type of morphed person? So.
I loved it. It was a really freaky scene, very much reminiscent of a certain Hereditary scene.
Yeah.
The way that like crawling in the background, and yeah, I don't know. I thought there was going to be like a little bit more to the scene. Like I thought it was actually going to like communicate or something with Ellie. Maybe that will happen later on, because it seems like this is like the first time. Well, I don't know about the first time, but it seems like a big step in just kind of the evolution of these like infected, where they're like it's just a different type than they've seen in the past. It's like a classic video game, you know, like game 2. Oh, now there's different types of zombies. And
100%.
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I am intrigued by seeing more of them, because it was a cool scene. It had some good suspense to it. Freaky look, especially that it's just like kind of like a child-like body, which makes it that much more terrifying. Yeah, and then bit Ellie, and yeah.
Yeah,
You
she
say
does
like
nothing, you know.
you're thinking it was gonna like communicate with her or something like that, like talk or
Yeah. Hey.
just hears that in the distance of the grocery
You
store.
can't get off the yeah. You can't get off the yeah. The last one there, but oh my
Turns
god.
around
Just perk angle. He's a stalker now.
in the shadow. You just see that. Run at me, you bastard!
Oh man.
Yeah, that whole scene was great. I understand like their pros and all that kind of stuff now, but it's funny because when me and Madison were watching Attack of the Clones earlier in anticipation for Revenge of the Sith dropping at theaters in a couple of weeks.
Let's hope.
There's one scene there where Yoda's like, oh, you know, too sure of themselves, like the younger ones, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just thinking, man, this is right here. Like they're these younger, like, yes, they're like 19, 20, whatever, but they're younger and they're too sure of themselves. They pull out their knives and think, oh, we got this, yada, yada, yada. I don't know why I would actively be going into an enclosed area like this, knowing, okay, yes, there's two. There could be more. You guys are definitely really confident. You guys are you've experienced this world. I have not, so you guys have picked up some extra things and know how to deal with these situations. But I just think going in there like that, leaving your backup outside, like this is just so risky and dangerous. And
Yeah, but you got to remember, like, for the most part, Ellie's playing with like God mode on, right? She can't get affected from these
yeah,
things.
but she's putting others at risk by doing that
Yes.
too. And that's again just a cocky factor and again, it's just the way the character's written, and I think that's great. Like I'm not docking at points. I just know for me watching it irks me because I think, man, like she shouldn't be, and they shouldn't be encouraging her and enabling her. Like it's dangerous. But at the end of the day, it's just the way the story is, and I'm not docking at points for
Yeah.
that.
No, I was gonna say because it's been a while. You gotta remember they did this in season 1, but they did a reminder even at the beginning of this episode where she's fighting that big guy, has him in an arm bar, and he taps, and she keeps like wrecking the arm and everything like that. Ellie's a character that is very aggressive and has a lot of pent up frustration and is just takes out in the wrong way. So it's like she just wants to find these clickers, not even for the good of like, oh, we'll take them out. She just wants to fucking stab something and murder. Like she's a
Yeah, and
messed
she
up
does that
person.
when she stabs the
Yes.
one, and she's like, "Yeah, nice," and sees the blood coming out of its head or whatnot. But
yeah, that is,
yeah.
anytime Ellie can do violence, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something especially they'll dive into this season is just like how kind of disturbed Ellie can be and how far that can go and what the line is. I was gonna say that's one thing where I didn't mind that. I think that was good chemistry building the whole. You got the horse ride, you got them going in there. I thought the scene of them like going to the clickers when they split up was way too long when they were doing like
Yeah.
the knife, and I was like, cut like a minute and a half of this out. Like you do this and they're like the ball. It's like it just, and I can't remember in the game if there's something like that, if because the ball is like a big thing in the game you can throw. So I'm not sure if that was like a tutorial moment. They're like, oh, we should put this in the show, but I was like, I'm already buying the chemistry. I understand what's going on here, and it wasn't like so funny. It was like, oh, this is great stuff. So it just. That's the only thing that killed the tension for me. And not that it was too tension filled because okay, these are main characters, episode 1, but also just like they're going in here kind of hunting for sport. I just thought it was paced oddly at the beginning, took too long, but then after the fact, it was good, and you got the little council there and stuff that now knows about the stalkers.
So I have a question about the cordyceps virus after this thing I want to mention. With them going in there and with this evolved stalker clicker, I really like that concept, and I know you see it in many different zombie iterations and whatnot. I think it is an absolute, like, I feel like it's like a staple when you're in these situations. Eventually, like something like this, it's not going to just come to a standstill, and these things aren't dead like zombies. It's an evolving thing, and you're going to get something that's smarter. And when me and Madison were watching this, Madison's like, why is it just toying with her and whatnot? I'm thinking, no, like it's hunting her and stalking her, and the thing just being underneath
Like, go hide in the house,
concession-
Madison, I'll show
yeah,
you.
go hide. Yeah, I'll crawl out from underneath the table
I'll
behind
stalk
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought everything about that was really good. And the peripheral vision too, when it's like it's crawling on the ceiling behind her and then like she's going down the aisles and it's moving adjacent to her. Just freaky shit. But I liked everything about it. I thought it was really, really good. Now regarding the virus, I didn't have an answer for this, and I wasn't sure. So they eat, obviously, wildlife and animals, but it's not transferable. It only is in humans, correct? That bear is not going to get infected or...
I can't remember if it was, but at the same time, like they completely like tore that bear apart. So I feel like maybe it's
they were eating
like,
a deer earlier, too, and that's, again, another reason I thought, well, do the animals get infected?
Yeah, for some reason I thought there was like a clicker bear at some point, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not animals, or again, maybe that bear was too far gone. Like you can't. I know that's like a zombie sort of thing, but maybe it was just like, okay, it's completely stomach's gone. Like what's it gonna do? It's gonna walk and just like split apart in two, right? But yeah, that bear got fucked up big time. That whole situation, and yeah, those 3 that were hanging back. They really don't have much leadership there. You know, they're
Man,
pretty
yeah.
useless. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You really gonna
Yeah.
let them just go? Ah, I'll give them 5 minutes.
Yeah, and that was definitely
Fuck.
longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they set up there that was like at least a fling or someone that Ellie used to date, and then now they've we get this little bit here where they start to set up some of the chemistry. Dean, I can't remember her former boyfriend's name.
Jesse.
Jesse, yeah. So he pops up a couple more times, establish that she's broken up with him, and then we get to the dance later where, you know, he's like, oh, she's really showing off, and she's kind of, Ellie kind of implies like, oh, it's for you, and you'll be back together. It's like, well, we're not getting back together. And then after Dina's making her move and rubbing herself, her stinky self on her and everything like that, and this is where we got Lil Sadie, the dance scene, which I was like, the set is pretty much 1-for-1 in the game, picked to the background here. And then, yeah, they kiss, so it's kind of establishing that, okay, Dina is, you know, down to go multiple ways, and then we get, you know, fucking, I don't know. I have many descripting words, but I don't want to offend anyone on the podcast. We get something that's not for. He does the whole like, oh, there's a family event, you know, it's
I
New
laughed
Year.
so hard when it like they're like embrace each other and then it just goes to this guy and he just got like a disgusted face.
No, that's what
He's like,
doing.
it's a family event. And
Yeah.
just like, oh my god, his like I didn't even take it like he was like being like a homophobe in that moment. He was just like, it's a family event, guys. And then he had to
drop
throw
the
in
D
fucking-
word.
he
Yeah,
had to throw in the D word.
that showed his cards right there. Like, oh, maybe Jim has a point. And they're like, Dyke is like, okay, no, he's Jim's lost. Like, he can't, like, he's gone. And then yeah, they go to do that, and then Ellie, or then that's where Joel comes like fucking Batman out of nowhere and pushes this guy to the ground. And then they have a big fight. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts of this situation? But then just Ellie and Dina in general. We talked about a little bit of Isabel, but just the relationship they're setting up here.
No, I think they have fantastic chemistry.
Absolutely.
Just like Dina's just fantastic. Isabella Merced.
Merced.
I like even just her dynamic with every other character, whether it was Joel or Jesse. Like just it seems like she's just able. I don't know, to just uplift like just the dialogue between like just boring characters. Like she just seems so like dynamic of a character. So I'm very much excited to just see how she evolves. Hopefully it's not too sad and things that might happen. But we'll get there when we get there. But specifically between her and Ellie, I think it's really fun. I think I was really surprised by Dina being so like gung ho and like ready to go on this dangerous adventure, because like I get it for Ellie, as you already mentioned, she's basically playing with God mode. She can't get infected, but it seems like Dina is just like almost leading the charge like into this building, even without Ellie's willingness to get in there. I guess she was kind of hesitant initially when Ellie was like, oh, there's one clicker, and then she realized that there's two, and then she's just a little bit slow to get in there, but right away she just holstered her weapon, pulled out the knife, ready to jump right in there, and not something I would do.
Nope.
But
Not at all.
I guess I'm a coward. I would be on gate duty. I think I wouldn't be on on recon.
We're
I'll give
also
them 5
30-year-old
minutes.
men. You know, we're also 30-year-old men. Where they're like in their early 20s, right? So they're
That's
like,
true.
You guys are going to be 30 soon. So already you're like, well, you know, I got things to do. I don't know if I want to get bit right now. You know, where they, you know, Ellie has God mode and Dina is a single lady. So she's like, fuck it, whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
when they put the knives away, I'm like, but I guess at the same point though, you still probably live in a world where you have to consume ammo. You probably only want to use that gun when you have to.
If
so-
you're in God mode, you're blowing fucking ammo. They're doing practice targeting on the hillside for fun.
But that's
like,
for practice. That to me is different than just like if you know there's a click, because at this point they don't think there's a smart clicker, right? So they know, okay, there's one clicker, they can easily just throw a bottle, he comes over, they kill him. If you know it's that easy with the knife, why waste any ammo? Where at
That's
least
true.
the sniper
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, the sniper, they're working on headshots, everything like that. So I can kind of get that degree. The question is just like, hey, would you still even go in there? Like even the lady is like, you don't need to go in there. Like, what if a baby's in there? Like, a baby's not in there. Like, there's no reason. Like, I don't think they're like, we really need this food. Like, it's not mission based at all. They're just like, oh, we're gonna see if there's people. And, like, they're just lying to the group because they want to go and have some fun. But yeah, so I guess that's maybe the thought behind the knife. Even though Ellie's just a sick fuck who like she wants to. Knife
she becomes
Yeah.
Mac from the Predator. Like, I'm gonna have me some fun. Have me some fun.
She's gonna be shaving with that knife.
Dry
in a couple weeks,
shave,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. Bald head. Just Ellie,
I
that's
was
fucking-
intrigued by like the conversation between Dina and Joel. Like the first time you even see Dina, I don't know. It just seems like I don't know. There's some underlying untrustworthiness. I think to this character.
To Dina?
Just from that scene, it just
Oh.
it just seemed like I don't know. She's trying to get something out of Joel. I don't know. She's overly friendly. Maybe that's the way that I received that. Just the vibe of that sequence, but who knows? Maybe I'm reading into it too much.
I did like the transition where they started with Ellie, and at that point they haven't talked about the tension between her and Joel, and they cut to Joel working on something, and it's like a younger lady voice being like, "Oh hey," and then he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
how's it going?" And they cut, and it's not Ellie, but they make you think like it's all good, and then you kind of learn like, okay, there's some stuff going on there. They're not talking. Dina and Tommy are kind of like the middlemen between them two, like either feeding information or not feeding the right information, like whatever is happening there. So, but I like that transition to kind of make you think like, oh, Ellie's gonna be here, but she's still living there. She's still in the garage. We got that established, and then we met Catherine O'Hara. We joked a little bit about that therapy stuff. That stuff that's not in the game. So I think this is just kind of more like I think they want to add more stuff to do with this town and flesh it out. So that's where I think they're like, okay, well, let's give Joel a therapist, and maybe the other people have the therapy sessions too, right? But that was not something because the game you have this area. I don't think it's a spoiler to be like you leave the town eventually, and there's an adventure they go on, and that's where I think because they want it's a TV show, kind of pad some stuff out. I think the therapist is going to be used for that. And there's another thing as well too, but I thought that was a really good scene. I thought Pedro's scene was really good too when she said, "Hey, I'm going to say this thing. I don't like it." We already talked about the husband thing, but then it's like you say your bit, and he says like as much as he's willing to say, but he still never gives the full story to the people there. So. And he also doesn't want people to know he's in therapy, but because I'm not sure, maybe he still thinks like I understand people might get it, like he had to save Ellie, but he still killed a bunch of scientists that maybe could save the world because he didn't want to lose his adopted daughter, So it's maybe if that gets around town, maybe Joel won't be invited to the New Year's party anymore.
Well, it's
I
her
don't know.
secret.
Keep
That's the
shoulder
big
checking
thing.
people.
There's too much happen there.
I just said, especially if he keeps on shoulder checking people.
Absolutely, yeah, they're gonna worry.
Taylor
Now,
Field,
Taylor, what'd you
your
say?
turn now.
Yeah.
Well, them trying to keep the secret of her being immune, right? I mean, the brother knows, so there's probably the only two. Her love interest, Dina, does not know, and the council obviously doesn't know because they're when the brothers on the council are like, "Oh, why does it matter with her? Why they got to keep extra protection with her?" Yada yada yada, and they're looking at him, and he's like, he just kind of hushes up about it.
Yeah.
So-
I don't think that secret's as big though as Joel killed dozens of people though, because like if they don't know about the scientists, they'll be like, "Oh wow, Ellie can't get affected. That's crazy." Where it's like, "Oh, Joel killed like how many innocent people?"
I think
Like,
they'd carve her up though. If I think they'd be
Maybe.
the same as the Fireflies.
but I don't. It doesn't look like they get the scientists there. That's one.
Well,
thing,
that's right. Joel, you killed the last scientist on planet Earth.
Yeah, like I don't. Maybe there's somebody there, but I guarantee you, if they were a scientist and they hear the story, they're probably like, you know what? I'm a retired scientist. I don't believe in that anymore. So let's take our last ad break and then we'll be right back. And we are back. So do you guys have anything to add on the therapy scene, or moving on, or?
It's just really well done. Catherine O'Hara was fantastic. It's funny. The thing I've seen her in most recently is just in Schitt's Creek, and her character of Moira is like just so like over the top with the way that she talks. So to have her just talking normally in here kind of tripped me out. But no, she played that scene really really well.
Yeah. No, she's a great actress. Great to have the show. Pedro always delivers, so it should be an interesting dynamic to see throughout the season. What have we not talked about so far? I know there's the end thing, but we can leave that. Anything else that specifically we haven't touched upon yet?
Just it was interesting that the tackling the topic of like you want to help people. That's what this place is supposed to be, but like they're literally bringing in too many people. So
Yeah.
it just that's just always like a tough idea in these like post-apocalyptic survival stories. So it's I like how they highlighted that on just like the difficulty of that decision and the reality of it. And I imagine that'll be, well, maybe not, but I imagine that'll be something that kind of just evolves as we keep going on with this show. We interact with more survivors, and we've already had like the man versus man threats of the previous season, not necessarily the infected. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting threat to tackle.
And you still got Joel, who's just as cutthroat. He just talked about scientists. He's like, yeah, well, keep him
Yeah.
out there. Got to pick our own over
He sees a
people.
white coat. He's fucking shooting. He's aiming for that.
Yeah. Is that a scientist?
Honey?
Agassi, who is the head.
I'm gonna fucking kill you!
That's the first scientist that they see in the village.
Yeah, they welcome in and everything. Oh yeah, the house is just over there. Joel's gonna come check on you later, and then like, honey, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Yeah, Joel's just they're like, they just specialize in chicken pox. That's it. Leave us alone. Like they're just here to help us with the pox. But yeah, no, that'll be good. And then we got to, because I can't remember for the life of me. I don't think Tommy. Yeah, because that kid's younger. I don't even know if he had a girlfriend, but they all also stashed Tommy's married or with a lady and has a kid now. So now Joel's like an uncle. And I thought that was a fun scene too. I think it's great when you have Joel in one scene talking about just letting innocent people die outside the wall, and then him being like, are you killing the monsters? Like he's just like this, like the fucking in uncle mode and everything. So I like that dichotomy. And then we ended up with, so we had the shove happen, Ellie just in front of everybody, because fucking Pedro's like, oh, you know, or Joel's like, oh, you should one just. I love how he's like, oh, your strings are whatever the term is. I'm not a guitarist, but they're
Your bird is baked.
yeah. And then she's like, oh, that's fine. He's like, oh, I'll fix it. And he just like fucking rushes out of there with the guitar like a thief. But then so that happens, and then we get the party. They appear there. We talked about that. He pushes him, comes up, but then she motherfuckers Joel in front of everybody, which is like, you know, Joel's the one that wanted her to go to make an appearance. But now it's like, if it's even a hush hush of like, oh, what's going on? This, you know, it doesn't even just look like, oh, it's them fighting. It's just like she's telling him to leave him the fuck alone. It's like, well, you live with the guys. That's an interesting thing. But then, yeah, they go back. Joel's on the deck, fix the guitar, playing the guitar. Ellie doesn't want anything to do with him, just beelines and goes right to her bedroom. And then we kind of get some transition and panning to that pipe or whatever someone was working on the beginning of the episode, or near the beginning of I'll say the first sequence of the episode. And now you zoom in, and it looks like there's some cordyceps growing out of there. That is something that's not in the game, and that's why I think there's gonna be padding. I think you might get a full episode of like, the city's overrun with X, Y, and Z, because like the city has a role to play, but it's not how big I think it's going to be, and I think that's going to be at least one episode of city versus, because they're so making like they're taking ones that are out. They got people watching the wall. They're not thinking about like, okay, what's coming within. So I think you might get an episode. Like I feel like every zombie undead show does that, where somehow something gets in and kind of fucks everything up, and I think something's gonna happen there. So yeah, that's unprecedented territory for me. That they've never done anything with like the city gets hit with something like that. Most of the big events happen when they leave. So
Well, when I remember watching some comparison stuff, and I thought the video shows like in the game the city gets attacked at some point by clickers.
I don't recall that though. Like I don't recall being within. And I thought I was talking about.
Well, I'm not saying within, like they attack from the outside, and I'm only saying that because this was a pipe from the outside going in. And remember in season 1 they said, well, that the ends of these cordyceps fungi, when it detects something in one spot, it sends a signal to all the way to them miles away, and they'll respond to it. So I think, okay, these in this pipe, that's just like the tips of these cordyceps. It's not going to become anything further, but then when this flare dropped there, it tingled with them. We're like, oh shit! So it's going to send a whole horde of these clickers to their base. I think.
Okay,
That's how I'm interpreting it.
It might be a variation. Yeah, you could be right. Yeah, it could be. It could be that then, because yeah, if it's I don't think it's attack on the inside. So yeah, it might be that, because I know there is a situation that gets them kind of leaving and moving around. But yeah, you might be right on that. So I'd have to think about that. I'm looking, of course, I don't see anything like that goes to that specific of it, and I always remember more of the human baseball points. So yeah, we'll see. If it's just that, then we're fine. If it's something that gets inside, that's definitely something new. But again, with it being a show, they might pad some stuff out and add some stuff. But hopefully everyone survives. You know.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Anything else before we get out of here?
I like the breakdown of the breakers that
Springs.
Joel did. Good old, electrical knowledge there. He was spitting some good knowledge.
Is that true, Kirkland? All you gotta do is just go and place the springs.
I've never done that, but I've never been in the apocalypse. Normally, if one's broken, I just toss it and go buy another one. So yeah, maybe
You should test it. and then come back and give the show a 1 out of 10. It's like he fucking lied. He
I
knows
try to
nothing.
fix it. It doesn't fix. It just lights the whole house on fire. Just
Yeah.
flames down, yeah.
I've lost everything. Thanks, Last of Us. But well, there you go. We'll be back next week. At some point, we're figuring that out date-wise because it's the same night as WrestleMania 2 or WrestleMania Night 2, and we don't know the status of Dylan being on these reviews. That Taylor will be gone, maybe. So we'll go back and see what's happening. So yeah, until then, promise you, it'll not be boring.